Lapis Philosophorum, The Unfinished Search for Meaning. Written by Abina Young. All rights reserved. Copyright June, 2025. Chapter 1. The Unyielding Knot. A Quest for Life's Meaning. What is life? This Socratic question, an unyielding Gordian knot for every true philosopher, elicits a spectrum of responses. Ask those on the street, and you might hear, life is simply the experience of being alive, or, it's the sum of actions and events within existence. Yet, beyond the cold precision of scientific definitions, the meaning of life unravels into a tapestry of profound complexity, demanding an exploration of purpose, value, and the very essence of being. Consider the Kalama Sutra, where the Buddha implored the people of Kalama to cultivate independent thought, not to blindly cling to scripture or masters. This ethos, echoed in philosophies like Buddhism, champions rational reasoning and self-mastery, a stark contrast to the blind faith, often promoted by religion, a faith characterized by its disavowal of evidence and reason. As the keen psychoanalyst Sigmund Freud observed, if a man does not have science, let him keep his religion. Freud, perhaps, grasped the comforting simplicity religion offers. But if religion truly holds the answer to what is life, then why do countless questions persist, echoing in the vast chambers of human experience? Why do deities, if they exist, permit suffering to befall the innocent? Who or what sculpted these gods into being? Why does a benevolent God tolerate the existence of Satan? How many utterances of Amitabha's name are truly required on one's deathbed to secure rebirth in the Western Pure Land? Just as countless cells coalesce to forge a single, vital organ, so too do myriad philosophies converge, each offering a fragment of insight into the colossal enigma of life's meaning. What we collectively know remains a minuscule speck against the boundless ocean of what is potentially knowable. From the ascetic gymnosophist to the pontiff in Rome, all of humanity, it seems, remains groping in the dark, bereft of a singular, universal truth. There is no definitive answer, no grand revelation. How can you be certain you're not merely a brain suspended in a vat, or that this reality isn't an intricate dream? What if every conviction you hold, every truth you cherish, is fundamentally flawed? The profound, unsettling truth is this: you cannot know. Chapter 2. Ancient Wisdom. Living Well Verses. Divine Origins. Philosophers like Buddha, Confucius, and Epicurus shared a remarkable commonality. They spent precious little time debating the origins of life. Instead, their profound teachings centered on a more immediate, human concern: how to live a happy and fulfilling life. When his followers pressed Siddhartha Gautama Buddha on the origins of existence or his thoughts on the gods, his consistent reply was a pragmatic one: suffering exists in the here and now. The core of the Buddha's Dharma was dedicated not to cosmic beginnings, but to the cessation of human suffering. Yet, his worldview was rich with complexity, embracing the concept of reincarnation in a multiverse teeming with primordial Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Devas, as numerous, he suggested, as the grains of sand by the Ganges River. Epicurus, too, challenged conventional religious fear with his famous dictum, "Do not fear gods." He taught that studying natural philosophy, physiology and physics, could empower individuals to understand life's mechanics, thereby dissipating the fear of death and deities. Epicurus even referred to gods as zoa, meaning animals, believing both humans and gods belong to a physical nexus, equally corporeal. Around the same time, Confucianism and Buddhism arrived in Japan, shaping its cultural landscape. Confucius, China's most revered teacher, forged his own school of thought. His wisdom, meticulously recorded in the Lun Yu, the Analects of Confucius, profoundly influenced the moral and social fabric of Chinese life. Strikingly, much like Epicurus, the Buddha also maintained that gods should neither be worshipped nor feared. The very idea of corporeal gods, gods possessing physical bodies, introduces a startling implication: they can die. This notion, that even deities can suffer and perish, echoes throughout ancient mythologies. Consider Prometheus from Greek lore, the titan who gifted fire to humanity, only to be eternally punished by Zeus, his liver ravaged daily by an eagle until Hercules intervened. Or Odin, the All-Father of Norse mythology, who sacrificed an eye for wisdom and endured being hung and wounded by his own spear on the world tree. As Buddha wisely stated, the religious life should not be based on dogma. It's a common misconception that science and religion are diametrically opposed. While science operates through observation and experiment, religion is often a priori, rooted in faith, belief in a higher power, and ethical guidelines. Yet, they can coexist. The widespread acceptance of religion often stems from our innate human tendency to avoid cognitive dissonance. The discomfort of a challenging truth frequently loses to the solace of a comforting lie. This preference for ease over difficulty is evident in our daily lives. We naturally organize perceptions into complete objects rather than disparate parts, grouping things that are close together. Religion itself can be broadly divided. Mythos, mythology, on one hand, and logos, logic and rational reasoning, on the other. Most religions share the concept of dualism, asserting that the soul or mind is distinct from the body, departing upon physical death. Its antithesis, materialism, posits that the soul cannot exist independently. Soul and body are corporeal and perish together. Chapter 3. The Eternal Tug of War, Freedom or Fate. In the summer of 2020, while teaching myself psychology, I stumbled upon a recording that profoundly shifted my perspective. A dialogue on education and control, B.F. Skinner and Carl Rogers, 1976. This wasn't just a discussion, it was a profound debate between existentialism and determinism, unfolding before my ears. On one side stood Drive. Carl Rogers, the humanist, championing the inherent freedom of the individual. He argued that life is fundamentally yours to define, and that the power of choice is undeniably real. A quote from Dr. Rogers resonated deeply, one I immediately posted across all my social media, pinning it as my top reflection. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's own attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. While I can't say if Rogers was an existential atheist like Jean-Paul Sartre, his words certainly echoed that profound sense of individual responsibility. He powerfully asserted, people who do not exercise their freedom of choice, who feel that they are completely controlled, die like flies, while the ones who have the best chance of survival, were those who still retain the concept, that I am a person, I choose. The existentialist would unequivocally declare, there is no determinism, man is condemned to be free, man is freedom. You are free, therefore choose. On the opposing side was Dr. B.F. Skinner, the behavioral scientist and groundbreaking inventor. A towering figure in behavioral psychology, his most famous creation, the Skinner box, or operant conditioning chamber, revolutionized the study of animal behavior. Skinner held a starkly contrasting view. Human behavior is fundamentally controlled. Each of us is completely determined to do what he is now doing and is going to do, by his own genetic and environmental history. B.F. Skinner, 1976. My interpretation of Skinner's stance is that we are shaped by both external and internal forces, by our genetic inheritance, internal, and our cultural, environmental influences, external. This aligns with the philosophical theory of determinism, which posits that all events are the inevitable consequences of a causal nexus, effectively denying any possibility of free will. Many philosophers throughout history have embraced this doctrine. Lucretius, in Of the Nature of Things, 55 BCE, famously stated, to say that anything takes place without a cause is to a natural philosopher the most disgraceful of all things. Arthur Schopenhauer offered a vivid analogy. If a stone that has been projected through the air had consciousness, it will believe that it was moving of its own will. In my considered opinion, both Drive, Skinner and Dr. Rogers hold a piece of the truth. To me, humanity is neither entirely bound nor absolutely free. At every turn, life presents us with a juxtaposition of two or more contrasting viewpoints, leaving us to navigate the complex interplay between choice and causality. Chapter 4. From Cosmos to Consciousness, the Scientific Quest for Origins. The scientist, unlike the philosopher focused on how to live, takes a different path to understanding the meaning of life, by observing the cosmos, perpetually searching for the origin of existence in the vast vacuum of space. The fundamental question echoes, where did it all begin? Ask an astronomer, and they'll tell you life began with an unimaginable bang, an explosion so grand it birthed the entire universe, including the very particles that constitute you. All matter, once concentrated in an immeasurably small point, marked the precise beginning of our universe. This cataclysmic event, the explosion of that minuscule, concentrated content at the dawn of time, is what we call the Big Bang. It would be futile for any philosopher to seek its physical location or mistake it for a mere supernova. The Big Bang was an explosion of space, time, energy, and matter that occurred everywhere in the cosmos, simultaneously. The atomic particles forming the chair you sit on, the air you breathe, and the very lungs that draw it in, all trace their lineage back to that singular, primordial event. And here's the astonishing truth. We are still in the Big Bang, it's occurring all around us. It's no exaggeration to say that we are, quite literally, living within an explosion. Yet, as we gaze into the cosmic abyss, the known shrinks before the unknown. A staggering 95% of the universe is composed of either dark matter or dark energy, and their true nature remains one of science's most profound enigmas. Shockingly, only a mere 5% of the material world is currently comprehensible to us. While no one truly grasps what dark matter is, it accounts for approximately 28% of our universe. Dark energy, comprising a colossal 63%, is even more elusive, though evidence suggests it's causing the universe to expand and accelerate at an ever-increasing rate. Even Albert Einstein initially resisted the idea of a dynamic universe, introducing his infamous cosmological constant to maintain a static model, a decision he later reportedly called the biggest blunder of my life. Many scientists firmly believe that everything is knowable through the rigorous application of the scientific method. They see no limits to scientific inquiry. However, an equally compelling perspective among scientists holds that scientific knowledge is inherently limited. This sentiment is captured by the Latin maxim, ignoramus et ignorabimus, meaning, we do not know and will not know, famously coined by German physiologist Émile Dubois-Reymond in 1872. Whether we readily admit it or not, humanity possesses inherent limits, and these limitations undeniably influence our scientific pursuits. The path to discovery is strewn with mammoth roadblocks, so much so that even those at the forefront of breakthroughs cannot deny the crucial role that sheer luck often plays. A powerful critique of the scientific method comes from Austrian philosopher Paul Feyerabend, who boldly argued that the method itself is far too narrow to encompass the myriad avenues and rule systems actually employed by scientists. His provocative conclusion, the only principle that does not inhibit progress is anything goes. Paul Feyerabend, Against Method, 1975. Chapter 5. From Atoms to Organisms, The Philosophy of Everything. Willard Quine famously posited that our statements about the external world face the tribunal of sense experience not individually but only as a corporate body. Quine, 1951. This concept suggests that, much like our perception of the external world relies on the integrated function of multiple sense organs, a comprehensive understanding of the physical world necessitates a collective body of hypotheses rather than isolated ones. Following the death of Socrates, a significant debate emerged among Greek philosophers, centering on the concepts of monism and pluralism. Monists asserted that nature fundamentally comprises a single substance, while pluralists contended that it is composed of multiple substances. For instance, Thales of Miletus, a prominent monist, famously believed that water constituted the fundamental essence of all nature. In contrast, Empedocles, a Greek philosopher and a leading pluralist, taught that all matter derived from four basic elements: earth, air, fire, and water. The atomists, another influential school of thought, maintained that the fundamental building blocks of nature were minuscule, indivisible atoms. Figures like Democritus and Lucretius advanced the idea that the sole and primary cause in the universe was the motion of these atoms. Epicurus, a materialist, concurred with this view, holding that only atoms and empty space truly existed. Atoms represent the smallest constituents of matter. When two or more atoms bond, they form a molecule, examples of which include the water molecule or protein molecules. A variety of molecules then combine to form a body cell, and a community of body cells subsequently forms a body tissue. Two or more tissues coalesce to form an organ, and a group of organs, working closely together, constitute an organ system that performs specific bodily functions. Finally, numerous organ systems operate in harmony to execute the functions of an independent organism. The intricate organization of the human body, from its smallest particles to a unique human organism, serves as a compelling illustration of nature's hierarchical and interconnected workings. The end.